The Timeline is a Blue Wire podcast. Welcome to the Timeline of Phoenix Suns podcast. My name is Mike, here with Sam. How you doing, Sam?
Hey, I am doing well. Definitely well. This was a strange week, I think, to be a Suns fan in some ways, because there is some very, very important news that I think we just have to cover off the top here before we get into anything else.
Yeah, we're going to talk about basketball. We have a superlatives segment we're going to do towards the latter part of this podcast, but we definitely have to start this podcast talking about the passing of a Phoenix Suns legend in Al McCoy, something that happened since the last time we recorded, so this is our first time being able to talk about it. I know everyone listening to this already knows about this, but Al McCoy, a legendary broadcaster who broadcasted for 51 years. You look at his career when, we were talking about all of this, and everyone has the opportunity to talk about this over the last week or so. And it really, the numbers are astounding. 91 years old, 51 years, more than half of his life covering the Phoenix Suns on the radio, broadcasting for the Suns. And he passed just a few days ago. And Al McCoy is an absolute legend for the Phoenix Suns. It's fascinating to talk about him because, players, at most a player will have a 13 to 15 year career, and oftentimes not with the same team. The longest tenured players that you could remember for the Suns is Nash had 10 years here, split. Devin Booker's going into his 10th year. These are the guys that sort of represent the Suns in the modern days, and there's players that had longer careers with the Suns in the past. Nothing comes close to this. Ownerships haven't come close to this. This is a man who, throughout multiple owners, 3 owners, was broadcasting for the Phoenix Suns. And we all heard the news. The Suns, I think, was where I heard it. The Suns sort of announced this news, and it's just really sad. It's not anything that's like a surprise. He was an older man, but it is really sad to reflect on who he was and the fact that he's gone. Didn't broadcast this last year. I'll say this, and then I'll let you talk here, Sam. But one of my memories for Al McCoy, and obviously I've never met him, I've never interacted with him. I would have been awkward and weird if I did, because I look up to him so much. To be frank, I mean,
you would have been starstruck. Yeah,
this is our version of a radio broadcast. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing something that's partially inspired by what he does. But when When I first moved to Phoenix, I didn't know who he was. Somebody had to tell me about him, and of course I began listening to games on the road, in the car, and it's just like, man, this guy is incredible and clearly knows his stuff. And I remember having a radio in my living room and watching the games on TV when they used to broadcast it over the air, which they do now again. And just turning the volume off on the TV and bringing up the volume on the radio and just watching the games with the Al McCoy broadcast, because it's just so legendary to be able to watch somebody with that level of experience and that level of professionalism. And to listen to it while watching the games was something that I did regularly throughout his time when he was calling the games. And he's obviously going to be missed by the Phoenix Suns community.
Yeah, by the Phoenix Suns community, by the Phoenix greater community, I think the Arizona community as well. Al was, and again, I didn't meet him, but Al was one of one in terms of his impact that he made on the Suns organization, the Suns fan base. It's literally difficult to envision. I mean, people who are currently with the organization in the broadcasting capacity, or players or current owners, or they'd have to go another 30 or 40 or 50 years to even hope to match the impact that Al had, the longevity, right? It's like unfathomable to dedicate as much as he dedicated to this team. It's been done by very, very few people in the history of not just the Suns, not the Suns, but in the history of sports, in the history of professional sports, in any of the major sports in the U.S. or North America. So, Al was incredible. Also a very good pianist. That's very much secondary to his work as a commentator, but I've seen some videos of him playing the piano before. He's quite good. And yeah, it's obviously a sad day. I guess the other thing to reflect on is maybe just some appreciation for the fact that, yes, we found out from the Suns and not from any other source. We found out from the Suns directly.
Yeah.
And also that they prepared a very nice slate of statements that came out, all within an hour of the announcement of Al's death. Statement from Charles Barkley, statement from Steve Nash, and then arguably most importantly, a statement from Devin Booker, which I'd actually like to read here because you saw it, but I thought it was just nice to get Book on the record about this news. He said that I had the privilege of Al McCoy narrating the first 8 years of my career. He was inducted into the Ring of Honor my second season, and it was then I really understood what a special talent he was. And over the course of my career, I've learned what an even more special person he was. We will miss Al, and I'm so glad our legacies in Phoenix are forever connected. I will point out there's the L word Book is using that we love so much. But, there have been a lot of photos over the years of Book embracing Al. And just, in general, I think I would probably say just having a bit more of a relationship with Al than you'd typically expect. I think it's fair to say, Mike, of like
when they made the NBA Finals, Devin Booker gave his jersey to Al McCoy.
You don't usually see players and broadcasters have that type of relationship, I don't think. I think there was a recognition on Book's part, especially his entire 10 years in Phoenix at this point, but especially the past few years and the last couple years of Al's career, there was a recognition of all that this man had done for the city, and that he had to put his respect on that first above anything. That it was more Al's town than it was Book's, as much as Book probably thinks of this as his town at this point too. I thought it was great to see a statement. I thought it was great to see a statement from all those players again. They even got one from, Budenholzer, who's the new coach, and obviously grew up listening to Al's broadcasts and not a Phoenix native, but an Arizona native. Good work from the Suns there.
I thought it was interesting, Devin Booker's statement. Devin Booker is somebody who, throughout his career, probably his life, has been just really respectful of the history of the game. And I thought the anecdote that he mentioned of fully grasping the importance of it when the Ring of Honor moment happened was particularly cool of him to point out, because fully understanding, I think, what somebody like him can mean to the community and to the fans is something that, he was, how old was he his second season? 19, 20? He was 19 when it started, I think.
Yeah.
He turned 20 in his second season. He was a kid. And to see that outpouring of love and support for somebody like Al, who still worked, for a few more seasons after that, 5 more seasons, I believe, after that, is just something that obviously he understood the importance of it and appreciated it at the time. Bud, you mentioned Bud had a statement. Bud called him one of my heroes in his statement. In fact, at Coach Bud's introductory press conference, Al McCoy made what we found out later was a surprise appearance when Bud was announced, and it literally brought emotion to Bud. You could see it in his face, hear it in his voice, because of somebody like that was the person that was introducing him to the Phoenix Suns. When Steve Nash was inducted into the Ring of Honor, when anyone else in recent past was inducted into the Ring of Honor, it was Al McCoy that did it. He was the one standing there doing it. He's just there consistently throughout all of the biggest moments of this franchise, and he's the only one. He really is the only one that was there for all of those moments. Steve Nash, in his statement, he called Al a teammate who never wore the jersey, which is another great way to put it. I saw one of the great written memorializing articles that I saw online. I forget who wrote it. It was just titled "The Greatest Phoenix Sun," Charles Barkley said Al McCoy represented everything that is great about Phoenix, the Phoenix Suns, and people who love basketball. And I think all of those guys, like, this is the type of moment where the current Phoenix Suns coach, the current Phoenix Suns superstar, and the two previous MVPs from this organization all knew him and all had something to say about him and all said something great and talked about what kind of person that he was. And this is the type of moment that can bring all of these guys together. Reflecting on it today, I kind of was sad at the fact that this happens after he passes, after he dies. And it's not something that happened while he's alive. But I will say in this case, he retired about a year ago. And this is something that happened when he retired too. There was this outpouring of love and this outpouring of appreciation for him when he retired. Even, a lot of people stepped in. A lot of famous announcers, a lot of famous broadcasters stepped in when he retired and talked about him. Charles Barkley even brought it up on a TNT broadcast at one point. It was nice, at least in this case, that they had that opportunity to do that for him. And since he's passed now, even Adam Silver, not to mention broadcasters all over the sports world, have talked about it. Adam Silver releasing a statement from the NBA as well, I thought was very respectful and very nice. But yeah, how did you do you remember how you even heard about Al McCoy? Because this is something, I moved here, and I found out about him from moving here and listening on the radio myself. It is a funny thing that I thought about that. No matter where you are, you don't live in Phoenix, for those who are listening who don't know that. Everyone knows who Al McCoy is. I've seen people from other countries talking about that sometimes they weren't able to watch the game, so they listened to the radio broadcast online. And it's just a fascinating thing to think how ingrained he is to the fandom of this team, the culture of this team itself, that people from other places even know. It's AM radio.
Yeah, but also it's the culture of the team that you're talking about. I mean, I had started following the Suns 20 years ago. I guess maybe, by the time I was really talking about them with other people on the internet was more like 15 years ago. But even then, Al was a legend to absolutely everyone you talk to online would only have positive things to say about the guy. And, if you listen to any of the radio stations in Arizona, the way they spoke about Al was entirely with this tone of reverence, right? So it's, like at that point, the point at which I became a Suns fan when I was a little kid, Al had already been doing this thing for 30 years. He could have been crazy. He could have been long retired already by that point. Like when Steve Nash joined the team in the 2000s. And, just his dedication was absolutely incredible. I think, he's already in the Ring of Honor, and it's fantastic that he was able to witness that night, that they did that while he was still working. But I do think there is this question of what happens next? Is there going to be something else, I suppose? Does it matter? Does it not matter? I don't know. But ideas have been floated. I'm sure they're going to honor him on the opening night of the season. They have to.
Yeah,
and they should.
Jersey patch.
They should.
It's right. If people have talked about
Jersey patch, I've heard Jersey patch.
That, yeah.
I've heard statue outside the arena. I've heard wing of the arena dedicated in his honor. I think there's
the media
lot of
room
is
dedicated to him currently already.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. So I don't know. Just something to look out for in the future. But we lost a legend.
We lost a legend, and I appreciate the Phoenix Suns for doing this right. All the former players, broadcasters, the NBA, for honoring him in the right way. I don't feel fully capable of having this conversation, talking about somebody that I just consider such a legend. But shout out to Al. We appreciate him.
That pretty much wraps things up here. And for one last time, this is Al McCoy saying thanks for being there. Thanks for being with us tonight. And from the Footprint Center here in downtown Phoenix, we'll just say so long for now.
Listen, life's all about leveling up. Whether you're handling business on the field or kicking it in your zone, you like to celebrate with cigars that match the moment. That's why you should link up with Famous Cigars to bring you a wild deal. Right now, you can grab 8 premium cigars for just $8. You heard that right. 8 top-rated cigars at $1 a stick. Top quality brands like Oliva, Romeo y Julieta, and Davidoff. Hand-picked just for you and worth over $80. Hit up famouscigars.com/cam and lock in this exclusive deal. While you're there, check out their insane selection of premium cigars, all shipped fresh and fast from their massive 20,000 square foot humidor. That's half a football field. Famous Cigars has been in the game since 1939 and still family owned. So celebrate every win with the folks at Famous. 8 cigars for $8. famouscigars.com/cam.
All right, Sam, we got a couple of weeks until some more basketball. It's getting pretty close. We're right on the verge of Media Day. In fact, our next main feed podcast here will likely be about Media Day for the Phoenix Suns. So we're really, really close. And you had a good idea for what we should do on this podcast. I'll let you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we've all done superlatives before. Not just in NBA context. You know, you've done them in your high school yearbooks, maybe. I'm not sure. Were you voted as most anything in your high school yearbook, Mike? Do you remember?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't think I was either.
I don't think I... Do you have your yearbooks?
Yeah, I do. I was more of a background NPC in high school, I think, than anything else, if I have to be honest. But yeah, I figured we could do some superlatives, but I wanted to make it fun, and the reason I wanted to do it this way is, our over-under episode is going to come up pretty soon, within the next couple of weeks. We've been doing that. Yeah. We still have to ask Max, technically, his availability. But no surprise to longtime listeners of the show, we've been doing this segment with Max for 5 or 6 years. And we're going to
This will be our 6th year.
This will be the 6th year, and we're going to continue doing it because it's fun. As much as I look forward to the over-under episode every year, it's very heavily statistics-focused. And I love that. Don't get me wrong. It's very analytical and very, how does Devin Booker score 2 more points per game than he did last year? And that's great. There's a place for that conversation. But I also have to admit that we're at a point, maybe in our society, we talked about this a little with our friend Alex last week, of the negative effects of gambler's brain. And maybe I don't want to, entirely feed into it all the time. So we're going to do that. It's coming up. But today we're doing superlatives, and I think it gives us more of a chance to talk about the abstract concepts or the intangibles related to this team, right? So it's going to be less statistics heavy, more things that are very important, things that are going to help this team succeed in the regular season and the playoffs, but a little bit, not objectively trackable. Does that make sense?
You don't think FanDuel has odds for the Marley Hustle Award?
I don't think FanDuel has odds for the Marley Hustle Award, which is on here. We do have to talk about the Marley Hustle Award. Where do you want to start with all of these? I will let you choose.
I mean, might as well start there. I mean, we just brought it up.
Okay. I'm going to throw it to you first. The Dan Marley Hustle Award, which I have to look up. We just mentioned
Grayson Allen won.
That on a pod that actually hasn't come out yet, so maybe I should have said that. But Grayson Allen won last year.
Yeah,
a bit of a catastrophe, if you ask me. Hold on, I'm looking up.
Why do you think that?
I'm looking up the past Marley Hustle Award winners because I want to say it was Grayson last year. It was Josh 2 years ago. Is that correct?
Is it? I mean, that makes sense. I know Mikal Bridges won in the past, Yeah, Josh Okogie. Okay, yeah. Josh Okogie the previous year. Mikal Bridges the previous year before that, I believe. You're right. Okay. But, I mean, Grace, I don't know. Is that bad? Is Grayson Allen really not a great winner?
No, he's certainly a winner. Okay, so Grayson Allen, Josh Okogie. Sorry, who was 2022? Do you have the year before?
Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grayson's fine, but, what he was consistent. I guess here's what we have to ask ourselves. What does the Dan Marley Hustle Award truly embody? Is it who?
Oh, Javon Carter. Okay, so Mikal Bridges won 3 out of 4 seasons.
Okay.
2019, 2021, 2022. Josh Okogie in the previous season
in 23.
Before Grayson Allen. Yeah. Javon Carter won in 2020.
Okay, so 1 year for. Okay, so here we have it. Mikal Bridges, Javon Carter. Mikal Bridges, okay. Mikal Bridges. Josh Okogie, Grayson Allen.
I mean, those are pretty. It's not bad. I mean, yeah, you're right in that Grayson Allen doesn't like exemplify the defensive effort that the other guys do, because it is just it goes to defensive guys, right? I mean, I'm not saying that that's who it should go to. I guess we can decide who the potential
that's who it should go to. That's who it.
You think so?
But here's the thing: like Mikal Bridges won it 3 or 4 years. He's also an offensive guy. You can be a good offensive player and still win this stupid, not this stupid award. It's an important award. It's a fun award. That's why we're opening up the episode or opening up the segment talking about this award. Yeah. It's a fun award. You can be good at offense and still win this award. But Grayson and the way he plays defense in particular, it was just a little surprising, I guess. The issue is there's two main candidates in terms of the like diving for loose balls and getting deflections and steals. Their names are Josh Okogie, who's still on the team, and Ryan Dunn. And I don't know if either of them are going to play more than like 500 minutes. Yeah,
exactly.
This year.
But okay, so stars can't get the award, right? We're just going to rule that out. It's never gone to a star. That's not what it's for. It's for like a role player who's willing to work a little hard. So we're ruling out Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. Are we ruling out Bradley Beal?
That's an interesting question.
Is this like
Coach
Bud is? It's like when Doc Rivers said that DeAndre Jordan could be a defensive player of the year level player. Coach Bud is going to come out and say this year Bradley Beal has the ability to be a Dan Marley Hustle Award winner.
He's
to motivate him.
He is the putty of this team in many ways, where I think we've got 5 or 6 superlative categories to go through here, and I think maybe you could answer plausibly Bradley Beal for every single one of them without spoiling anything. He's kind of just like whatever we need Brad to be, we're gonna force him into that role. That's what okay. So
let's not rule him out, but like he's probably not gonna win it, right?
How about this, Yusuf Nurkic?
I thought Yusuf Nurkic and Tyus Jones as guys who are definitely going to get minutes. I think I'd put Tyus Jones higher on that list. I know he's not quite a defensive player either, but if he becomes slightly better at defense, maybe gets an extra half a steal a game compared to his averages or something like that, and comes out in really high effort defense, maybe chasing guys full court.
Tyus can get steals. He's just small, and he's not like I guess
Javon Carter was small.
Yeah, I guess he's not a Javon Carter level defender,
no,
right? He's not. He gets steals but not hounding you up and down the court for 94 feet. That's not really his role. I don't know that we have. I mean, again, it's just Okogie and Dunn.
Well, Royce O'Neal. I think you could put Royce O'Neal in there as a guy who could potentially win. Maybe, okay, the most likely candidates if they get minutes are Okogie and Dunn, but we don't think they're going to get enough minutes without an injury. I think it's Grayson Allen's to win, man. I think Grayson Allen's probably going to win again.
You think because he's just going to play the Mikal Bridges role of like
high effort level role player, and that's who it goes to.
I guess that's fine, but I'm going to throw in Ryan Dunn and Yusuf Nurkic as wild cards here as dark horses.
Okay, you were agreeing with me that Grayson Allen is the guy that is most likely to win.
I think I know I just said we shouldn't be gambling on all this shit, but to say it in gamblers' terms, I think if you need me to pick a favorite, then I guess Grayson is the favorite. Do I kind of reject the logic that goes into that? Maybe a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, Yusuf Nurkic. There is a version of like using this award to like reward a player for changing their role basically, and that's the Yusuf Nurkic idea there, right? Or is it just that his defense could be good enough just to give it to him? Is that the idea?
Yeah, his defense could be good, and also rebounding is part of hustle. And without Yusuf Nurkic, we would have no rebounding on this roster, which I think is important to point out. So, yeah, I think there's a bunch of things that go into it. But it's like if we are a top 15 defense and are once again held up by that joint front court of Durant and Nurk defensively, basically, then yeah, he has a chance. And also he changes his role, and also he, I don't know, learns to shoot threes or something. I know that
has a big man ever won? I can't remember a big man ever winning.
The hustle, oh God.
There's no way to like easily find all the hustle award winners.
I know. I need a basketball reference tab. That's just Hold on. You go into the next category, and I will scroll through this 35-slide photo gallery on the Suns website with previous winners.
Just read them out. I want to hear.
Alan Williams, 2017.
Really?
He's a big man.
That's interesting.
And Alan Williams,
that is
that's
much worse than the
fascinating.
Grayson Allen
That's
one.
fascinating because Alan Williams, I mean, look, that team was terrible, but Alan Williams didn't play that much.
Well,
So-
he had to step in due to injury that year, from my memory.
Okay, but so maybe Ryan, what did he play? 700 minutes? Maybe Ryan Dunn has a chance.
That's true. That's true.
Otherwise,
He's higher on this list.
PJ Tucker won 4 years in a row.
Yeah, which obviously that's like exemplifies the type of player you want to have on this list.
Okay, Lou Amundsen, 2009.
So there's another big.
Yeah, I'm just
Sort of.
I'm just giving you the bigs.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it started. This award is older than I thought. It started with Bo Outlaw in 2003.
Wow. Before either of us were fans.
I would say if Lou Amundsen and Alan Williams can win this award, then maybe Ryan Dunn is closer to being a favorite than we're giving him credit
Fair.
for.
Yeah. I wonder if a rookie has ever won. All right. We don't know any of these facts about the Dan Marley Hustle Awards, so we can move on. Which one would you like
so
to
this
do
this
next?
is the thing about this episode, though, for people who haven't figured it out already. When you get away from the stats, which I think is good, everything becomes a lot more subjective. So it's just going to be us throwing shit at the wall. Where do we want to go next? Are you posing that to me?
Yeah, I'll let you pick.
All right. Who's going to be the best leader on this team in this locker room?
Okay. Did this one... Okay. I thought a lot about this one. It didn't make me happy to think a lot about this one, if I'm being honest. It was kind of the most depressing one to think about.
Really? Okay. Well,
no.
maybe it's important that we get this out earlier.
Yeah,
because
it definitely is.
It's going to be one of the questions. I mean, the biggest void on this team. Again, if you're not attacking it from a statistical angle of like, oh, the biggest void on this team is size on the wing or is too many turnovers or whatever. Like intangibly,
3-point attempts.
Right. There's all that stuff that we've covered so much, but intangibly, we've also always said this team has a leadership problem, or at least it did. Last year, it had a leadership problem.
Mm-hmm.
How well did they fix it by replacing Vogel with Bud and bringing in a couple of veterans, which they did? And can we expect, I guess, whatever answer you're gonna give me is gonna go towards answering this, but it's like, is it externally that they found the solution, or is it going to come from within someone who is already on the team?
It has to be a player, right?
I mean, if you want it, yes, it should be. But if you want to say Bud and like make a case for it, then fine.
And that's bad, right?
I don't think that's the right answer, though. Just so we're on the same page. Like, I don't think
it would be bad if that was the right answer.
I think it would be bad, but also I don't think Bud is like this drill sergeant coach who's gonna commands yes, he'll command the respect to the players, but like I don't think that's the right answer. There has to be a player who the other players listen to for this to work.
We have had 4 years in a row with the Suns having a winning record. For those 3 of those 4 years, 3 of those 4 years, Chris Paul was the leader, right?
Yes.
And
unquestionably, when Chris Paul was on the roster, Chris Paul was the leader. Even once
who was the leader last year?
Well, yeah, dude, that's the problem. I don't think there was one. I mean, KD and Book both play by the same rules, which is, lead by example. But I don't think they're very vocal. And it just like I don't think they like. I don't know. I mean, we're not in the locker room, right? So I don't want to make too many assumptions, but like
I don't know.
I think everyone can kind of tell by the way those two carry themselves that they just kind of do their superstar stuff and kind of just expect the rest of the guys to like figure it out. Like, why can't the rest of you just be as good as I am? Kevin Durant, one of the greatest players of all time, right? Like, I don't think he's like on guys. He's not getting on guys in practice. If I had to guess.
I mean, he works out with them.
Yes,
he definitely teaches them skills. It's probably Durant. It's interesting because Charles Barkley was recently interviewed about the Phoenix Suns. I don't remember where he was talking. It may have been local radio. And he said that the Suns have a leadership problem, and he put it all on Devin Booker to be that guy next year. He said Devin Booker needs to be the guy to be the leader for the Suns. He needs to be a more vocal leader for the Phoenix Suns. Now, anytime you have Charles Barkley talking about a Kevin Durant team, you have to factor in that weird beef that they have with each other, the bus driver thing that stems from TNT talking about Kevin Durant for the last, 10 years, basically. So factor that in. But still, do you agree with that? Do you agree with just the idea that this is now, it's his 10th season, right? We're talking about Devin Booker's 10th season. Does he need to take the reins as the more vocal leader for this team in order for them to reach whatever level of success that we think they can reach?
So, yeah, it's a little difficult. I think on the court, yes, he needs to take the reins. And when I watch, this is true for Durant too, by the way. Like when I watch these guys in the huddle, it's not like they're not taking it seriously. Like they're ultra competitive guys, and they are directing other players on like where to be, right? So I think they're capable of that in-game coaching. I guess what's so difficult to parse is off the court. Like all the stuff as a fan you don't see once the cameras are turned off, and what they're doing in practice, and what they're doing like it just, like if they're checking up on guys throughout the season, like mentally, and like hanging out with each other, right? Like we don't really see any of that stuff. And when you talk about that stuff, it's like a guy's demeanor is a guy's demeanor. I don't think you can change it all that much or really demand much actionable change at a certain point. Does that make sense? So
yeah.
As long as Book can lock in and be the right guy we need him to be on the court, I don't need him to be Chris Paul off the court too. But I do kind of need him to be Chris Paul on the court if he can manage that, right?
Well, it's interesting because I don't think you become a better leader by accident. I do think there has to be some level of intentionality in doing that, especially if it's not necessarily your natural state to do that. So, it would take intention from Devin Booker to do that. I mean, I think you do get naturally better at leadership qualities over time, yes. But I think if you intend to be a vocal leader, you have to intend to do it. You can't just do it by accident.
I will say,
so, I wonder if there's somebody in his ear telling him that, because that is probably what it takes.
You definitely, I reject the notion. I will say that you need to be like the star player to be, to have the respect.
Yeah, that's the other question.
You don't need to be. Here's the thing. You should be playing, probably, in order to have the respect. Like if you're Udonis Haslem and you're going on season number 10 of like playing 40 minutes a year and you're out there like getting on guys, you're going to be like, who the fuck is this? But like as long as you're playing, like I think Tyus Jones, I have high hopes for Tyus Jones.
Who was the leader on the Celtics?
Who was the leader on the Celtics?
Was it Al Horford?
Yeah, Al Horford or Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's not really their best players in that case.
It doesn't. It never has. But that's my point. It doesn't have to be.
Who are the options to be the non-star player leaders on this team? Right?
Tyus Jones.
You said Tyus Jones. It could be Tyus Jones.
So Tyus Jones,
Damian Lee.
Yeah, Damian Lee is a good leader. He was very involved and active, even in a really difficult position, not being able to play at all, which I'm sure was hard.
And they signed him immediately,
right?
When he was
for that reason,
he clearly earned that. Yeah,
but like if you think about that with Damian Lee, like that's a hard position personally for himself, his own mental health to be in when you're a professional athlete and you're already several seasons into your career and you're not sure what the future holds because of how well your own body is holding up. And you're still like that involved in the locker room and making sure that other guys are doing okay, and holding them accountable. More importantly, maybe not more.
What about Jaden Shackelford?
Of equal importance. Jaden Shackelford, I don't think so. Let me just explain the Tyus Jones thing. I read up on some articles of Tyus Jones, his transition to Washington last year. Now, granted, that team was terrible, and so maybe we shouldn't take too much of this. But I was impressed when Tyus came here of his intro presser, just kind of the answers that he gave, the detail with which he spoke about what his role is going to be. And in these articles as well of what he was doing on Washington, he mentioned the fact that like going from backing up Ja Morant for several years to being a starting point guard, he understood that his role was not just about, I'm paraphrasing, like he didn't literally say it like this, but like his role wasn't just the assist to turnover ratio. Tyus Jones has a generational assist to turnover ratio. That's not the only reason we're bringing him in. We're also bringing him in to be a vocal point guard who orchestrates the offense and the defense to an extent too. I expect more of him on the offensive side of things, but he needs to clarify roles for all of his guys on the court of where they need to be, and he needs to be on them. Can he attain Chris Paul levels? I don't know, but I think he's gotten better throughout his career of being that vocal guy, and I do have high hopes for him. So I don't know. Maybe that's a dark horse candidate for best leader.
Have we just lost all hope in Bradley Beal doing this? Because we hoped for that in the past. And
no,
there
Brad.
Were moments. I think there were moments in the regular season where he said the right things.
That's the curse of Bradley Beal. Is he's
very honest.
Well,
yeah,
he frequently says the right thing, and then can't back it up.
DeAndre Ayton's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so who do you pick? I'm going to let you pick this one, and I'll just agree with whoever you pick because I had trouble.
I mean, most likely it's Devin Booker. But I like my Tyus Jones thing, personally.
Okay. I think I would have picked Kevin Durant. I don't know, though. I don't know.
KD is a leader of this team. Don't get me wrong, but
he's the one that
marches
look
to the beat of
most,
his own
I think.
drum.
Yeah,
and that will never change.
For better or worse, he's the one that I think people look to the most. Which one would you like to?
I chose the last one, so it's your turn.
Okay, let's go with. I think you wrote it as Team Clown.
Yeah.
/ the funniest player.
I don't have a good one here. Do you have a good answer?
Is this the least funny team of all time?
No, that might have been last season, actually. Might have been the least funny team of all time.
But because they actually added 2 young guys to this team. Because I picked Oso Ighodaro.
Yeah. And I don't know.
I mean, I watched some clips of them talking. You know, when Ryan Dunn was being interviewed, Oso Ighodaro took the mic and started talking. And I'm like, okay, this kid's clearly funny. And the young, I think there's like youthful energy. You haven't been beaten down. You haven't lost in the playoffs yet. So you have some level of brevity
you don't
left
have,
to your approach to the game.
You don't have families. You don't have children. These possessions that are weighing you down in this world that make you less funny. I'm just kidding to all the parents out there. We have a serious problem. We have a serious problem.
We had campaign.
We have a serious problem with a lack of humor on this roster.
We had Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton, for better or worse, pretty damn funny. That's like those 3 guys alone brought a lot. I mean, we all remember the clip of those 3 guys dancing with a player on the sidelines. It went viral just because they were having so much fun and they were funny. Yeah. It was a kid.
Yeah, with a kid. Yeah, I mean, I almost question, was the Miles Plumlee, was the Mason Plumlee?
He's back.
He's the return.
Miles Plumlee isn't walking through that door.
Was the Mason Plumlee signing a mistake? If, you could have gotten JaVale McGee out there for a return or something? Did you just need...
Well, they got an open roster spot, Sam.
They do have an open roster spot. That's a good point. But did we just need to juice...
Who's the funniest free agent still available?
I'm going to look it up right now. I'm going to look up Spotrac, and we're going to decide this right now. I'm like, do we just need to juice the vibes? The other option here is Bradley Beal unintentionally being the funniest because of how often he says the worst thing at the worst time. Like when he was like, I'll be damned if I'm getting swept, and then they got swept because of Bradley Beal's performance in Game 4 against the Wolves. That was fairly tragic at the time, but in hindsight, it's also somewhat funny. All right, let's see what we got.
It's JaVale. I think it's JaVale McGee. I think you picked the right one.
Hold on.
Because I'm looking at these guys. You got Gordon Hayward, who retired, Evan Fournier, who's now playing in Europe, Markelle Fultz. He's still unsigned. I didn't realize that. Davis Bertans.
Are we sure this is updated? I thought, did Fultz really not sign anywhere?
I don't know. Yeah. I guess if he did, I missed
some of these guys are still on this list, even though they went to Europe already. Like Patrick Beverley.
What about Dennis Smith Jr.? Do you have opinions on him? He seems to be pretty funny.
I said that I wanted him on our free agent episode before we realized that better guys were going to be available. Is he funny, though? I honestly didn't.
I don't really know. Yeah, it's JaVale McGee. I think it's pretty clearly JaVale McGee. Actually, looking at this list of guys, he's funny.
Yeah, there have to be some funny guys here, at the bottom of this list who I'm just not familiar with their game. But we need We need something, man, because
they need to post a screenshot of their podcast rotation and see if they're like funny people or not.
Is Thanasis? Is Thanasis?
He tore his ACL, I believe.
But so the Bucks didn't. They're done with giving him the free roster spot. They put their foot down.
Well, we'll see.
Wait, I
right?
had no idea they put their foot down on this.
I don't know. I don't know.
Wow,
They put their hoof down.
Wow, Thanasis Antetokounmpo, not a Milwaukee Buck. Are we sure about that?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna go with Oso Ighodaro. That's my final answer. I'm sticking with it.
I think basically
Damian Lee's pretty funny too. By the way, of like the veterans, it's Damian Lee probably.
His Wikipedia page says who last played for the Milwaukee Bucks of the National Basketball Association. Sorry, I'm still thinking about Thanasis Antetokounmpo.
He's pretty funny.
Should we swipe Thanasis for the 15th spot and just start doing milkshake ads with him?
Or feed him new foods and see how he reacts. See if we can get some of that Antetokounmpo like free press.
I
just had tacos for the first time. God bless Mexico.
Yeah, Jesus. My answer here is a hybrid Ryan Dunn plus Oso. I think them being together will make it work.
They already called themselves the Twins, so we're expecting good vibes.
Hope so.
It's up to them.
Hope so. Here's where I'm going to go next. Best highlights. This one's easy.
Is it?
Yeah.
I have 3 candidates.
You have 3 candidates? No, there's one
Yeah.
candidate, and his name is Ryan Dunn. There's one candidate, and his name is Ryan Dunn.
That's fascinating.
Is that one of your 3 candidates?
It's not. There's 3 candidates to me. There are 3 obvious ones. It's Kevin Durant. It's Devin Booker. And it's Oso Ighodaro.
Wow! Holy shit. Oso? I like Oso.
Yes.
I mean, but no.
He's the only guy who can dunk on this team.
Ryan Dunn. Dude, okay.
Yes, Ryan Dunn can dunk, but like the idea of a highlight reel of Oso Ighodaro dribbling it down in half court and then threading a bounce pass followed by like an absolute insane
Here's all I have to say.
alley-oop jam.
Here's all I have to
that
say.
to me is like, that's a good highlight reel.
Do you remember the play a couple years ago, or like, it wasn't last year, I think it was 2 years ago. Josh Okogie's on Jalen Green. He snatches the ball.
It was my video that went viral for that.
Right,
Yeah.
so he snatches the ball out of midair,
yes,
dribbles coast to coast, and throws down like a semi-poster dunk. Throws down a dunk in transition.
He dunked on him.
He dunked on him. Right? He embarrassed him.
Yeah.
Not the type of highlight that's like, look, and all NBA highlights are
but
cool.
that's one highlight. It's not like there's a
dude. Ryan Dunn might do that.
At least
no,
like a
listen to me.
6-minute video here,
listen
right?
to me. Ryan Dunn might do that 15 times this year, and I don't even know if he's going to play. But go watch his defensive tape. He has the ability to do stuff that no one else does in the NBA. I'm not talking about like yes, Book might get a game winner, and that'll be super cool. And KD will get highlights, and Bol will get highlights, and Oso will get highlights. But to
KD
me,
will have a game winner too, and a few dunks on guys.
To me, this is so obvious. Like the level of passion that we're gonna have, the exuberance.
I don't know, man.
When Ryan Dunn just goes
you're
ape
right.
shit.
You're right. I'm going to be posting Ryan Dunn clips on Twitter every time he enters the
Constantly,
game.
dude.
Yeah,
Constantly.
no, you're right. For sure, you're right. But also, Mason Plumlee misses a few weeks. Yusuf Nurkic misses a few weeks.
No, I know.
Oso Ighodaro steps into that backup center role. Now he's got Monte Morris and Tyus Jones throwing him lobs. It's going to be fun, man.
Yeah, well.
And look, it might not be great for the overall net rating of the team in those minutes, but the highlights are going to look fun. And he's going to do some fun things. His skill set's so unique in that he's already really good at screening and rolling and catching lobs. We know that. That's what he did in college. But the combination of that plus the passing, I think it's going to make for a pretty good highlight reel. That's all I'm saying. And obviously Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, we know what it's going to look like. It's going to look like a highlight reel from them for the past few seasons.
Yeah.
It's going to look exactly the same.
Bradley
I think
Beal.
That's probably...
Bradley Beal's not really a highlight machine.
I mean, he had one memorable dunk last year. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's not really a highlight machine, and he's not going to get the ball in big moments.
If Grayson is stronger this year and he's just jacking up 30-foot threes, that could be fun.
It's I mean,
like a little heat check, a couple heat check moments for Grayson.
How many Ray Allen highlight reels are you watching on a daily basis? You know, it's like
I wake up every morning with a Ray Allen highlight reel. What are you talking about? Every morning I watch Gerald Green highlights. Well, Gerald Green was a crazy.
Fun, yeah.
Gerald Green was a crazy dunker. Every morning I watch Michael Redd go to work on these YouTube streets.
Yeah. I'm with you. You sold me. I'll give it to Ryan Dunn.
Okay, I didn't think I'd sell you like that.
I think it's fair because he is genuinely. I think you're right. In that, when it comes to a young, like high upside player, like a steal, mid court, a steal on Jason Tatum or something might get 20,000 likes on Twitter or something like that, just because that's how it goes. We all sort of factor in what they could be in the future, and.
Yeah,
I don't know. He might just be Tony Allen, which I don't know if there's a role for Tony Allen in today's NBA, by the way, whose jersey is about to be retired by Memphis. But it'll be fun.
We have to remember, I think something, I'm not sure we've ever talked about this, but I think something that's very important to keep in mind about the NBA highlight sphere, the ecosystem of what NBA highlights get shared and what highlights don't, is that inherently the NBA community is full of haters. So what that means is the more soul snatching your play is, there's a reason that like dunks are cool. If a guy does like, a reverse tomahawk or like a 360 or like that'll get play.
Especially if you're 39 years old.
Yes, but nothing gets more play than when you poster someone else.
Absolutely.
It's there cannot be a winner without a loser in this competitive environment. It's the fact that you need to embarrass someone else. And this is what I would call the Ryan Dunn factor, because what he can do to guys defensively will be so soul snatching and so embarrassing to them that the masses will have no choice but to share those highlights.
I like it. I'm sold.
There you go.
Let's go to biggest surprise. We have two more. Let's do biggest surprise. I had a little trouble with this one. I'm curious how you approached your thought process on this one.
I have diverging thought processes.
Okay.
Where do you want me to start?
Because I guess my first thought was, can you put a rookie for this one?
Yeah, I think you can.
Okay. That helps open it up a little bit for me.
Is your answer Oso again? Because one of my answers is Oso for this one. It
might be. I think that there's like a little bit of like, what if Jalen Bridges gets minutes kind of question here.
Okay.
Or earns that final roster spot because
like
they don't
that.
have anyone 6'7" who can shoot besides him and Kevin Durant. So like there's this like little tiny chance that Jalen Bridges has a full roster spot by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because he's on a two-way right now.
Yeah. My answer is Jaden Shackelford, by the way.
We need another guard. Yeah. You know what this team needs?
Apologies to Jaden Shackelford, who I look forward to watching him play, but is probably going to be a more of a Valley Suns staple this year. I shouldn't use him as the butt of a joke like that.
I'm going to list who I think are the potential nominees for this award, right?
Uh-huh.
So we're going to include the rookies, then we can basically put all three. I think Ryan Dunn is like, we understand what his potential role could be, so it makes it the least likely for me. Oso Ighodaro, I think, is higher on the list, and probably for the same reason that you think, is that they have two centers on this team right now besides him.
There's also two things about Oso. One, they only have two centers on the team now. They do have guys who can play small ball 5 and KD and Bull to an extent, but they only have two real centers on the team. And I don't know, man. I'm not sure we've talked about it enough, but like I'm a little antsy about Mason Plumlee. I think it was a good signing. I think he's definitely better than Eubanks. I think he brings more of the vertical spacing. I like the way he can handle the ball. But like centers who are on the wrong side of 30 with an injury history, like the drop off is fast when it happens. And
I'm going to say that I had Mason Plumlee as potential for the biggest surprise.
Oh, did you? In a good way.
I did.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Well, I think that's true,
there's
too.
a chance Yusuf Nurkic misses 20 games, and then they're like, maybe Mason Plumlee should start.
No, I think you're right. I think the way I would put it is Mason is probably the guy with, maybe not the guy, but he's one of the guys with the highest variance on this team. I think
it's not like he's going to come into the season with a new skill or something like that.
No.
right? It's just maybe there's a chance that he fits better than we realized is all.
But as it relates to Oso, the reason I'm a bit worried is because on the flip side of things, there's also a bit, like there's a non-insignificant chance that Mason is just bad. And if he's bad...
No, I agree.
If he's...
It'll happen at some point, and it could be this
If
season,
he's bad, then Oso is the contingency plan. And, I think there's a chance that he's more ready for that role than we'd expect. He needs to add strength, but the defensive versatility should make him useful. That provides some utility from day one. The lob catching provides some utility from day one. And just the way he whips those passes. And also, the thing that makes it surprising, right, is I'm not thinking about it from, like, the perspective of us, hosts of the Timeline podcast or whatever.
People who have talked more about Oso Ighodaro than anyone else right now, I'm
thinking about, like, imagine your average, like, Suns fan who goes to see the team a few times a year, knows the starting lineup, but doesn't, like, they're not paying attention to who their second round draft pick was. They're not watching summer league games. And then all of a sudden this guy is here. Maybe there was a Yusuf Nurkic injury. Maybe there's a Mason Plumlee injury. But you can imagine it's like a random January game against the Miami Heat or the Charlotte Hornets, or I don't know, could be anyone. And
we got to pick on them more, the Charlotte
Hornets. But in comes this guy, Oso Ighodaro, and he's whipping it. I mean, he's just slinging that thing around the court. And you can imagine, I think, a certain type of fan, or just any fan, being really taken to him and having gone into the season not knowing anything about him at all. So that's the other element that makes it surprising. I think he could surprise a lot of fans.
I agree with that. He was on my list, and I have him. That would put him on my list for like 3 different things, though.
Yeah, it's.
I think this. If this exercise did anything for me, it's make me realize I'm more excited about Oso Ighodaro than I realized. Even though he, as I've mentioned before, got 3 rebounds in all of summer league. It feels like, which does still scare me. But
yeah, of course.
I like that he's different than the centers that we have, and like dramatically different than them. And I think it brings something else to the table. It just makes it exciting to and I think that combine that with the addition of 2 actual real point guards that could get him the ball, because we watched him in summer league, and like the only thing I can think about in summer league is this guy is so lucky he had a great point guard in college, because they are struggling to get him the ball now in summer league. That's not going to be a problem in the NBA. There are point guards and there are other good guards on this team that could get him the ball. And I think he could definitely be the type of player that could really benefit from that. Getting up off the ground quickly on a team that has 3 potential stars, that could get you a lot of easy buckets.
Dude,
I'm excited.
Coming into the NBA your rookie year and playing basically 100% of your minutes with Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, or maybe like the occasional sprinkle of Devin Booker as your point guard.
Yeah.
You couldn't, if you're a big man, you couldn't ask for better than that. That's great.
If you're a pick and roll big man who just jumps off the floor and dunks it, you're in good shape.
Yeah.
You're in good shape.
Yeah, okay. I feel pretty good about that. But I will say, another guy I thought about here, though, I think this is too normie of an answer to say Bol. Like, I think I've overplayed my Bol stuff speech a little
maybe.
bit.
Yeah. You know what, though? I think people still, I don't know. It's interesting because, like, people really like Bol highlights. But also, I think the comparison of Bol to Wembanyama has, like, kind of hurt how people talk about him, because it is kind of unfair of him to be compared to, like, one of the biggest unicorns ever to hit the NBA. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. That could be surprising to some people.
I sort of expect big things from Bol this season. So
he surprised me last year.
But that's
just the fact that he could shoot, I think, was so huge for me.
I think it's important that you put it in those terms, right? The surprise was last year. And I think other people might catch up this year. So if Bol takes another leap, and by that I mean he actually, let's say, plays 18 minutes a game this year and averages like close to 10 points a game or something, which I think is totally possible if he builds on what he did last year, the surprise will come in the form of ringer think pieces from other people being like, oh, look at Bol.
From not Kevin O'Connor.
From whoever the new Kevin O'Connor is. Yeah. But for us, the surprise came last year when I distinctly remember at the beginning of the season we were saying to ourselves, this guy can't. Like, he played a couple of stretches in December.
He was bad.
And we were
before last year.
We were like, this guy cannot play. And by the end of the season, we were begging for him to play.
Yeah.
So the surprise was already last year. Therefore, it's not surprising to me anymore if Bowl is awesome, but I think it will be surprising to a lot of people around the league.
One more. This one should be easy, right?
I don't know.
Most likely to get MVP votes.
You think this is easy? Who's your answer?
I think it's Kevin Durant.
I think it's Devin Booker pretty easily, dude. But I like this. I like when we disagree more often. All right, make your case. Why Kevin Durant?
I think that if this team is good and they're both healthy, the more traditional type of voter will vote for Kevin Durant. Because I don't think that MVP voters are truly plugged into a team.
The more traditional type of voter. The more neoliberal voter to do a show callback will vote for Kevin Durant.
What would it take for Devin Booker to get votes over Kevin Durant? Really? What would it take? To me, there's only one thing. Kevin Durant misses 30 games in the middle of the season, and the Suns are really good.
No, I think it needs. First of all, let's recognize the prompt, right? The prompt is get votes, not win. And I think the reason I put it like that is because I recognize these guys aren't going to win MVP. The only way one of these two wins MVP is if the other guy misses most of the season and the Suns still win like 60 games. If that happens, then sure, one of them can win MVP. If both of them are healthy and the team wins 60 games, it's not going to happen. But they could get votes. And who's more likely to get votes? I think it's going to be the guy who arrives at a place where he's consistently dictating the offense late in games. And I think the guy at this stage who's more likely to be doing that, at least if the offense is being run to my preference, is Devin Booker. Because Devin Booker's a guy I trust with the ball in his hands late in games. And Kevin Durant, I trust to make shots, but we did this whole spiel. We've been doing this whole spiel about let's simplify KD's role a little bit. He doesn't need to average 5 assists a game.
But he'll still average 29 points. Like, that's who Kevin Durant is.
All right,
you know
so
what I mean?
29 points and 3 assists per game. So he's Amari Stoudemire now? Okay, that's good. It's not MVP.
Yeah. I mean, but if they win 56 games or whatever, and he averages 29 points.
Who's getting him the ball?
I think he'll get more.
Who's going to be getting him the ball?
I think the only thing that could get Devin Booker more votes because of voters, not because of how they play, is if KD missed time.
I don't know.
I think
I actually think you're not giving the voters enough credit though, because they do watch. Believe it or not, they're not like the.
Have you seen how close this election is?
No, dude. They watch basketball. The voters watch basketball, and I think they'll see if the Suns have tweaked their offense in the way that we're expecting. They'll make note of that, and they'll adjust their priors, and they'll understand that, I really believe that this might be the year. Not that it matters, right? Okay, because people are going to accuse us of pitting one against the other, and it doesn't matter as long as a team is succeeding, and I'm sure both guys will say that. But I feel the balance of powers shifting a little bit. Or at least I hope that Bud recognizes that maybe they should shift a little bit in order to play to their maximum potential.
I don't know why. I don't know where you're getting that from. Hope?
I mean, part of it is it's copium. Yeah, it's hopium season. There needs to be some change, right? Otherwise, why did you bring in Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, and whatever?
Yeah.
But the other part of it is Devin Booker's at the peak of his career, and I think he's ready for it. I just think
it's his 10th year. It's fair.
I think he's ready for the challenge. This is
I think there's a possibility where either of these guys are the best player on the team next year.
How about this?
But my lack of faith is in the voters to recognize if one is over the other. I don't really care.
I'll give you one stat. This has been very much a vibes podcast for us, but I'll give you one stat.
You're giving a stat. We almost got out of a podcast without a stat.
I know. Last 4 years since Kevin Durant left Golden State, the total number of MVP votes for these two guys in the past 4 years combined, the way MVP votes work, to remind those of you at home, a first place vote is worth 5 points. A fifth place vote is worth 1 point. And it's a spectrum from 1 to 5. You only vote for 5 guys. In the past 4 years, Kevin Durant has 2 points. 2 times where one person deemed that he was worthy of 5th place. Devin Booker has 216 points.
It's fair.
He got some.
It's a good point.
He got some MVP votes. Now, it took the Suns being a 64-win team to do it, where his teammate was his principal scoring partner was Chris Paul, and not another guy who scores 25 to 30 points per game. But he's gotten those votes. And KD, largely it's just because he wasn't healthy enough. And last year he actually was healthy enough. He played 75 games and he got 1 5th place vote. Possibly from Eddie Johnson. I have to look up who that vote actually was from.
Yeah, I don't know if we know that. Yeah, it's interesting.
Look, this is going to be close. And again, I don't think either of these guys are going to win the award. And I don't think it really matters as long as the team is good. But times be changing. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I'll give it to you. You can have that one. I disagree, but you can have that one. Anything else before we go?
I don't think so. Just have a wonderful week, everyone. And Media Day is coming up. That is exciting because I think we're really going to get some insight on some more of these guys' personalities.
Who Team Clown actually is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Appreciate you all for listening. Shout out to Al McCoy. We'll be back midweek with the Patreon episode. Check that one out soon. Thanks, everyone.
For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnnywalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly.